Welcome back to Morning Coffee with Tim, episode 4. We're back in Imperial Studios and we've got another amazing guest, the handsome, the beautiful, the lovely Daniel Dargan.
I like that intro.
How are you, brother?
Can you repeat that again?
Man,
I like that one.
Beautiful. I called Sean a genius. He loved it. Man, how are you? How are you keeping?
Mate, I'm great. I love the wee track down. Nice and scenic view in the Fentana, mate. So, mate, it's good to be here. So, thank you for having me.
You're the first person to love Fentana, I would say.
It reminds me of home, mate.
Does it? It's just
nothing
exactly.
there.
Man. I know it's quiet. There. It's peaceful. It's definitely. It has its it has its plus point. It definitely does.
No, I think it's a nice part of the world.
And it took you like an hour and 10 minutes, an hour 15 minutes. Not too bad. I appreciate you coming down.
Worth it for the frank and honest, brother.
Absolutely. Shout out Frank and Honest. Shout out Frank and Honest. Brad was saying when Brad was on, he was like, he can really like taste the gingerbread notes in the Frank and Honest.
I'm not much of a coffee snob. Like we said about going to the spa and getting coffee. Like, mate, if it gives me a buzz, I'm taking it. That's true. That's true. It doesn't feel.
It's the taste for me. Like, I'm all about the taste. And also, first thing I want to ask you, what's the go-to coffee order? I know you're sitting with a wee flat white here, but say, right, you're going to a nice little, do you know the hipster joints?
Yeah.
Say you're in London, hipster joint, you're like, got a bit of time to kill. I want to go enjoy a coffee experience. What are you going to get? What's the ideal coffee order?
I mean, this is the most underwhelming answer ever. I would just get a flat white.
That's it.
No, I do love a wee flat white with coconut milk.
Coconut milk, right?
I do. No.
Oat milk's the popular one these days.
Never had it.
Really?
Nah, I'm not that bougie yet. I'm a pretty straight arrow guy right these days. Like,
when you get onto the oat milk flat whites, life will change, like, as you know it.
And it's nice. See, I've got bad IBS. I know too much information.
No, it's all good. We're very open and honest in this podcast.
Yeah, it's true. So I would tend to take almond milk.
Right.
More so.
Easier in the stomach?
Yeah, mate,
than oat milk?
I'm paying rent in the bog these days.
Oh my days, man! IBS chat. We'll not go too deep into the IBS chat, but here it is. What it is. Yeah, we keep it real, like. But so do you have a favorite coffee shop? I just like asking this to people because everyone's been to different places.
My mom actually owns a coffee shop.
No way.
I don't know how this didn't come up before.
Man, what are you talking about?
Yeah, my mum owns a coffee shop.
Shout it out. What's it called?
Yeah, Cheeky Cherub. Shout out, Cheeky Cherub, Glengormley. Shout out.
Man, why was this never brought up? The coffee, it's called Morning Coffee with Tim, like, and your man's dishing out fine quality coffee.
Nah, free coffee every day. It's
that's
dream,
bliss.
Do a banging coffee, in fairness. Nah, Frank and Honest, that's a go-to, bro.
Frank and Honest out of the shop is good, like, is good. I was spoiled in London with, like, I was trying a different coffee shop every day. And I was very, very spoiled.
Mate, it's honestly, that's when I was over in London, that's what I was thinking. I actually thought of you and I was like, how much is he spunking every week on flat whites, mate? Like,
let's not talk about it.
It must have been, because again, I was mate, got the stage, because mate, you know, you're sitting in your coffee shop, you're doing work, and you feel obligated to get another one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't have X amount of coffee, so just keep me going decaf. It's like $3.50, like sometimes, like depending where you're going, like Steve. I was like,
man, it's expensive.
It's a mortgage job.
And especially if you're going oat milk, and then sometimes I'd be going decaf. And then I'm like, I'm up to £4 for a coffee. And then I'm like, 5 coffees, 20 quid. 20 quid times 4. Yeah, Tim's done.
Bro, they've got you sucked in.
Well, they definitely do. And it's the biggest markup. I feel like it's the biggest markup in the world, coffee. Like, what does a coffee cost? Like 20p, 30p to make? It's the milk anyway that's the most expensive thing.
It's making a bag. No, I would have one, but when I'm training in the mornings, I would have a non-stim pre with a coffee. Sounds so counterintuitive, but
you don't. Well, to be fair, if you do a stimulant pre and a coffee, it could be a bit of an overdose.
I'd have a wee flat white sitting in the car. I mean, I'm saying chilling out. I'm not chilling out. I've got absolutely screamo music on in the car. Like, it's non-negotiable. It has to be. Well, not even gonna say what I was gonna say, but yeah, screamo music.
Yeah. I get it, man.
You get me, brother. What are you having? What's your go-to?
Man,
before a gym session. What are you hitting?
Before a gym session.
Yeah.
I'm not a pre-workout guy. I can't lie.
I'm
just full of hype. I'm natural hype. Like, I'm natural hype. But no, I used to do pre-workout. But do you know beta-alanine gives you the tingles?
Yeah.
Man, I hate it.
I'm about it.
Sir, I'm like anxious through the roof if I feel myself tingling.
It's
like,
when I start getting tingles in my ass when like mates sign me out.
You've done with the IBS too, like that's just too much. You can't be having too much tingles.
Are you training flat out at the moment?
See, I'm more performance. Like with the football, I'm like training.
I guess
training 2 times a week with the football, and then I'll do a run or 2 a week, and then I'll do like 2 or 3 gym sessions. And then there's a lot of recovery in that
too.
Hybrid
king.
man, I've always been performance, because when I was at uni, I was a rower as well. So it's always been about making a boat go fast, being as fast or as strong or like as fit as possible in football.
That's such a posh boy sport as well.
What, rowing?
Yes.
It really is, man. It really is.
What was it we said last time about badminton as well?
Badminton, yeah.
Badminton.
I sound like I've been brought up in flipping.
Get that in the Tinder bio, mate. Oh my god. No,
the badminton, that was a childhood thing. I love badminton, to be fair, but no, I'm not in the badminton anymore.
Timmy in the rowing. Captain of the rowing club.
Man, I actually was freshers captain for a while, but it was a poly uni, so
What does that mean?
Like Jordanstown to your Queens.
Yeah.
I went to the Jordanstown version.
Oh, okay,
so I wasn't like, tip, all that there.
Yeah,
and also rowing's very it's very misunderstood in the sense that it started off in private schools, so it's got that kind of posh, and it's like when you go to a regatta, it's like everyone's wearing hats and ties.
Is that where
and
you
stuff.
went?
Huh?
Regatta?
No, so a regatta is like a rowing race.
You can see how ignorant I am to the sport now.
So a regatta is a rowing race. The same as you play a football match. Like a regatta is just what you call like a summer race.
I'm so far out from this, but tell me more.
But we're gonna get more into you. This podcast.
No. This is an education, mate.
So a regatta. So it does sound very posh, but rowing has done a lot of effort to get it to be more like widely received. So they're doing stuff in schools. Like everyone can row now, whereas used to be like you had to own a boat, you had to go to private school. Mm-hmm. Not so much anymore. Because I did not go to private school. I don't even think there's private schools near here.
I don't think there's any in the country. Maybe.
Didn't go to private school. Didn't go to a posh uni. I was just happened to be strong in a boat and happened to be tall. If you're over 6'1", they'll kind of pick you out. Because I got picked out at the Freshers Fair.
You're gonna do me like that, bro?
What height are you?
I'm a short king. I'm 5'9", bro.
Oh, you actually? You kind of look tall in that.
I think it's the Whomper Stompers. Like I think
they had a good 4 inches. Like,
mate, easy, mate.
I thought I was saying
5'9", 5'10". I'm not over 6. I'm not even gonna. There's so many people which I'm like, oh, I'm 6 foot. I'm like, man, you're just no, you're not. Yeah. I'm happy with being a short king.
I was lining up the cameras and I was like, to Barry, Daniel's like 6'2". So man, Here, you must look tall online. Well, when you're in a bin, you can't really look any height, but
bro, you're only seeing the top half anyway.
That's it. You must have a tall torso, but anyway, right. Let's get into a bit about you. I know this question's a bit random, and we also done an Instagram live together no time ago, and it lasted about 3.5 hours.
It could have went on for days.
But I want to know, in a brief nutshell, before we dive into the school stuff, the uni stuff. Who is Daniel Dargan? And do you prefer to be called Daniel or Dan? You're a Daniel man. I know that because I asked you that before. But
I'm a Daniel man.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm a Daniel man. Thank you.
No worries, bro.
Who is Daniel Dargan? It's a good question. The bin man for a start.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into the bin stuff. Like.
No, jokes aside, I'm not the bin man. Don't call me that, please. No, so... live in Temple Patrick, about 15 minutes outside of Belfast, 23. I'm an online fitness coach, and I like to believe that I have a positive impact on the world. And that positive impact, I make people, hopefully I like to make people feel good.
Yeah.
I make people feel better than when I found them. And I think I like to hold myself to a pretty high standard these days. But yeah, honestly, like since I joined the fitness scene, it's honestly been a game changer. Like I've completely changed who I am from now to where I was 2-3 years ago. But yeah, where I am now, online fitness coach, a sea dipper. That's about all it is to me these days. Yeah, like I live pretty sheltered life.
But man, that's what you find. See, with a lot of like what I would call a high performer or someone that's kind of dialed in. Yeah, they're doing a lot of basic things just consistently. Like there isn't a lot of fluff. There isn't a lot of faff. I found this with Sean as well. I found it with Brad. I found it with Kevin. Everyone who's been on so far, it's like they're like, oh, my life's boring, but it's not boring. It's just consistency, habits, discipline. Yeah. That's what gets you results. Like
that's what people say to me. Like, oh, when are you gonna do the day in the life? I'm like, you wouldn't want to see that because I get off.
An online coach's day in the life is not exciting. Like.
Some people say, oh, here's day in the life for an online coach. I'm like, mate, there's no like one, you've either lied, or two, like no one's gonna watch that. Yeah. So no, I would get up. I've actually started getting up a wee bit earlier now because I'm back.
What time are we talking?
5. So I'm back into the routine of things. I would have done that for most of the last year. And then over Christmas, I chilled out a wee bit. Yeah. So get up at 5 now, not like in a Tom Smith way.
Yeah, because I done an Instagram video yesterday about people that get up at 4 or 5.
Yeah, you're shit because you get up at 7. Like, no, I get up at 5 just because...
Works for you?
Yeah, it works for me because in the evenings, there's 2 monkeys bashing cymbals in my head. So I may as well be asleep.
Aye.
Get up at 5. I would... Man, again, this is leading me into this. This makes me sound so Tom Smithy. Get up at 5. I would bang a cold shower.
Yeah,
and then it's just going against everything you said. And then,
but it works for you, like.
Yeah, and then I would get straight stuck into work.
Yeah.
And then after that, train around 10, 11 o'clock. Come back, do more work. I would probably bang another shower after to wake me up again.
Yeah.
Bang a coffee, do more work, sleep. That's it. Every day.
What time would you go to bed at? If you're waking up at 5? Because I always find some people, it's very different. Because morning and evening has been a constant battle in my mind. Because I would say I'm a night person, but I want to be a morning person. Because when I was rowing, I was like up at 5, and that I kind of conditioned myself the same way as if someone works night shifts. You have to condition yourself to be a certain way.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because, like, as humans, like, we're predisposed to either be a morning lark or a night owl, and it's unfortunate for some people, those people that are the night owls.
Yeah,
in a society, largely we're a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So again, if their hours of productivity are in the evening, but they're a 9 to 5 worker, it makes life a lot more difficult for those people. For me, I'm working in the morning, so obviously it works. It's concurrent with my lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen, my brother, he would work till all hours in the evening, but
aye.
After 6 p.m, I'm fried. I go to bed about 9:30, and that's me sorted. So it's still I still get me 8 hours. So, but as you said, it's what works for you.
Yeah.
And like I like getting up and getting stuff done. Like usually January to June, I go monk mode.
Oh, I love it.
Summer
monk mode.
I love summer. I'll party. July, August.
Yeah.
Monk mode till December. Party in December. That's literally the way I'm going to work my life for the next X amount of years.
You're definitely an Iman Gadzi guy. Do you follow Iman Gadzi? Have you not?
Elaborate, please.
If you haven't, you need to get on it. He's like an agency owner. Okay. He's probably around your age, 22, 23. Multi-millionaire. Like crazy dialed in. But he was like probably the first guy I ever seen talk about monk mode. He wasn't he didn't found monk mode, but he has his own version. Man, he goes like 6 months, and then he'll go like party. You'll see him on yachts with like loads of girls and just like party and absolutely just go ham for a month. Then you'll not see him again. He'll consistently put out content, but he is just, and he opens schools in Nepal. He like does a load of charity work. He buys. He buys Rolexes, Patek Philippe's all the time. Like the guy is like loaded.
Yeah, he's wiping his ass with 50s.
100%. But you need to look him up. I'll send him it. Yeah, you would love him. The whole monk mode stuff. He's class.
Yeah,
he's
but
class.
I think it's, again, people sometimes like having.
I'm glad you brought that close to your mouth as well. By the way, just a wee bit. There you go, lovely.
Podcast etiquette.
Yeah, I know, but we're both loud guys, so it should be fine.
Yeah,
like.
No, I know. I get that on Instagram. Would you stop shouting, mate? Like, fuck off, mate. But no, 100%. Like people have that balance week to week. So on a Monday to Friday, they graft, the weekend they go out, and like for me, it just doesn't work that well for me. Because after I've drank, 4 days I'm gone. So I don't want to get to the 30s, 40s and live with any regret.
Facts.
For something that I haven't done, or like, I wish I give it more of a go, because I would say I spunked 3-4 years of my life just partying, and again, great lessons. I don't regret.
Wouldn't change it.
Not even one bit, because even all the fuck ups, even I can swear on this, can't I?
Oh,
yeah, even all the fuck ups. Everything I done wrong, it's led me to where I am now. It's led me to make the decisions I am, and hopefully, people can learn off the back of my mistakes too. Yeah,
100%. I'm the same. Like a lot of people say to me, "Do you regret going to uni? Do you regret doing this?" You shouldn't live with regrets.
No,
because I'm a big fan of like butterfly effect and all the rest. Everything has led you to where you are now. You like. If you would have changed, I find this so fascinating, so mad. But if you would have changed, if you would have interacted one little thing in your life differently, you mightn't have been getting into a bin. You mightn't have been sitting on a podcast. You might not be an online coach.
Yeah, 100%.
It's absolutely crazy. Like
there's even though that you mentioned that, we were meant to go to my brother. He's a year above me. We were meant to go to a certain primary school when we were younger. And like I'm a Catholic, and in the area we were living, it was predominantly Protestant area. And my granny, she was like, "No, I want them to go to a Catholic primary school." And so they headed down for the induction. My mum and dad. Obviously, I was like 2, 3 at this age, and at that time, it was something to do with paramilitaries outside the school, and they cordoned off the school for the induction day. So my mum, she's from Glasgow, and she was like, "Not a chance. We're going to put them to a school nearby." It was like a predominantly Protestant school. Yeah. So as a result, we went to school at a completely different area, ended up going to a completely different high school, completely different group of friends. So, I mean, if I didn't go to if that didn't happen on that specific day, I wouldn't be friends with the people I'm friends with now. I probably wouldn't have got into the activities which I'm doing now. Yeah. And like it's crazy how things work out.
It's a madness.
Were you a party boy?
No, I wasn't. I was never a big partier, to be fair. Not at all. And at uni, like, I had a similar experience with uni. You were saying you might have been going to a different primary school. When I was going to uni, I was accepted to go to Plymouth. I had my accommodation booked. Like, my auntie lives in Plymouth. She was ready for me to land over. I got my results. I changed to Leeds within a day because I was like, I didn't think I could get into Leeds.
Right.
So then adjustment. Like, I was like, oh, I've got the grades to go to Leeds. So I cancelled all my plans and switched cities. Never been to Leeds in my life. Never been to the uni.
That's a leap
I had read a prospectus that said they work with GB athletes. Like, they work with high-level athletes. So in my head, I always wanted to work in professional sport.
That was a way in for you.
So I was like, right, I want to work in professional sport. So I got to go to Leeds. And it's absolutely crazy. Like, all my best mates, well, I've got a few best mates back here, but majority of my best mates are in Leeds.
What's your best memory or maddest memory from Leeds?
Oh, wow. There was a few. I had a lot of cool, like, really cool opportunities. Like, I got to work in professional sport for a year, met some amazing people. Got to see Danny Cipriani train and like playing his like in his natural environment and talk to him and see how he trains. That was pretty incredible. But yeah, England for me, that's why I went to England, because I was like, the opportunities were just endless. Met a lot of cool people, had a lot of, you know, crazy times with the rowing as well. I got to row at Henley twice. Now, this will go straight over your head, but
I've heard of it.
Henley's a very prestigious regatta. I got to row there twice. I was part of the first boat to ever, from Leeds to ever row at Henley. That was pretty cool. Like,
yeah, well, that's probably the poshest sentence I've heard in a long time.
Yeah, man.
I'm
not a posh
the
guy.
Best regatta, whatever you say. But yeah,
it is. It's the biggest club regatta in the world. So that was pretty cool. And rowing was to be honest, rowing was my life at uni. Like, I was getting up at 5 o'clock. I would be getting up.
Oh shit, so you were on your grind then, like when you were at university?
I didn't live a uni. Like, I didn't live the drinking, partying lifestyle.
See, I didn't go to uni.
You didn't?
No.
See, you're only the age. In my mind, you're 26, but you're 23.
It's the sunbeds, man.
Is that what it is?
The wrinkles in the sunbeds.
You've got a 26-year-old like face.
Yeah, no, I know. Battered handbag.
I'm 27 to be fair, but I still feel 18. Like.
Yeah, I mean, there's time. Don't get me wrong. I think since I've stopped going out as much, I definitely do feel a wee bit not older in a sense, but probably more mature. I think at the stage when I was maybe 21, I still felt like I was 16.
Yeah,
and I probably needed to grow up a wee bit.
Aye.
So, and I'm glad. I'm definitely glad I had. Like, even for example, there was one of the boys put in our group chat the other day, and he was like, "Here, Telegraph building on this date," and I was like, I don't have it in me anymore.
Just does nothing for me.
A big Telegraph session. I don't have it in me.
And I hear
like,
respect to anyone that there's a big part of it. Like, as I was saying to Sean as well when he was on, he was saying he obviously done the drinking lifestyle at uni, and he was like, whenever you're with your mates chatting nonsense in like your student house, very few worries. There's a short-term pleasure in that, which we can't doubt at all. And look, when I go out with my mates over in England, or whenever I do go out, it's a great time. But for me, I'm invested in such a bigger picture now, like a bigger vision, and not to sound all Tom Smith and woo-woo, but it's just like, I have a vision for my life, and if I'm doing that every week, or if I'm tired, or if I'm going to sleep late, I'm just not going to get there. And that would mean, would like, not living up to my true potential. Is why I called my program the True Potential Program. Is like, I want everyone to discover that.
I think a big part of that is having that vision at the start. And for a lot of people, a lot of guys I would speak to, a lot of girls as well, is not actually having that vision. They don't have that vision, or they don't know where they want to go. And it's a bit like, people come to me all the time, and it's something I felt like, I'm a failure. Like, my mum and dad would be, they'd be very successful from where they came from to where they are now. And again, like, definitely big role models for me. And I got to the stage where I was like, right, okay, well, I'm not there yet. And I'm like, bro, I'm 21. Chill out.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with a guy yesterday. He's 23, just finished uni, got a degree, which he doesn't want to utilize. And he was like, I just feel like I fucked up.
Yeah.
I feel like I've done nothing with my life. And I'm like, you are 23. I mean, realistically, you're probably going to live another 77 years in this day and age. Probably going to hit 100.
Yeah. Touch wood.
So why are you sweating it?
Aye.
Why are you sweating it? There's like, you can literally do nothing for the next 10, 20, 30 years and still make something of yourself.
Gary V, shout out.
Shout out Gary.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He always says that, Ted. You could like patience. It's all about patience. Aggressive patience.
But he's right.
He is right.
He's so true. And what I would say, I was reading up about this not too long ago, and it was about actually how to find your passion, how to find your vision, that thing which is really going to light you up and wake you up in the morning. And it's what they'd said was that clarity on what you want to do, clarity comes from engagement, not thought.
Yeah.
So sitting on the sofa scrolling on Instagram, that's not going to allow you to figure out what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
Engagement. So if that's what are your hobby? What are your values? Intern somewhere, right? If you love music, for example, go and intern somewhere. I mean, in the music industry, join a Facebook group, read a book about it, listen to a podcast. You need to engage and allow yourself to explore that avenue, because if you're sitting on the sofa, if you're scrolling through Instagram, that's not going to come to you. And there's going to be one or two things which is going to happen. One, you realize, no, that's going to stay a hobby. I'm never going to do that as a career. I would not like to do that whatsoever. Or two, this lights a fire inside my soul, and I'm going to pursue this with everything I have. One of two things. So again, that was a big thing for me. As soon as I had the thought of, right, okay, what am I passionate about? People, mental health, and fitness. I had to engage in that. So I reached out to a coach of mine and he said, right, okay, how do I get more engaged in this? He says, right, okay, we'll go and do a course about it firstly. And that was it. So I had a conversation with one of my friends yesterday. Engage in that. And he's done a university degree, like really switched on guy. And he said he's not passionate about it.
Yeah.
And he's scared that he's tied
Sunk
himself.
cost.
Exactly. Sunk cost fallacy. He's invested 2, 3, 4 years into that.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, you are 23. Are you going to potentially waste the next 40, 50 years of your life because of 3 years of work?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And as we spoke about before, Tim, not everyone has to be passionate about their work. I get that. Like there's other means of fulfillment in life, family, friends, vocations outside of your job. But at the same time, like you spend a third of your life, well, on average, I'm pulling that statistic out of my hole. You're spending a third of your life working. Are you going to want to do something that you don't enjoy? And a lot of people would say as well, what do you think is the one objection that I get when it comes to looking and trying to find your passion or trying new things?
The one objection that you get if
I'm giving advice, and the one objection that I would get most from people, what do you think they would say when it's like, right, go and explore your passion, try this, try that?
Probably that they're scared, or that they don't want to. They like the security.
Exactly. Firstly, the security, right, and secondly, the time.
Yeah.
The time is a big thing. I don't have the time. I've got 2 kids. I've got X, Y, Z. And I come from a privileged perspective of not having kids.
Yeah.
So, but what I would say is, how long do you spend scrolling on Instagram? How long do you spend scrolling on TikTok? And have you ever taken stock of your week?
Yeah.
And by taking stock, I mean literally minute by minute of the whole week. And I totally agree that people are busier than I am. I get that. But at the same time, I think if it's a priority for you, you'll make time. And if it's not a priority, you'll make an excuse for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether people want to accept it or not, it's your responsibility at the end of the day.
100%.
Whatever situation you find yourself in, it's never your fault. Not always your fault, but your responsibility to do something about it.
Yeah. And you have to face up to these things sometimes, because I feel like you can come across as harsh and like we're always saying this with thinking of the person's like lifestyle first, and thinking it's easy for us to go, right, you know, everyone's got the time, blah blah blah. I know, you know, everyone's in different circumstances, but everyone has some time, and everyone has the ability to control what they can control. And it all comes from thoughts. It all comes from how you speak to yourself, how you speak about others, how you approach things, how you take information, what you do with that information. That's all controllable. Complain about the weather, complain about someone said something to you, or someone said this, or blah blah blah. You can't control that. Yeah. So focus on what you can control and make small shifts. I think people think they need to change things overnight. It's the same with fitness. They think I need to do this, I need to cut out bread, I need to cut out this, I need to cut out this, and go all in. They never stick to it, because it's like you've been building bad habits, or habits that haven't been getting you to where you want to be for 5-10 years. You think a month of doing a 30-day shred and cutting carbs out is going to get you to where you want to be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Think about that. That's ludicrous. Like, and you're going to have to commit time, but that's what makes it so. That's what makes the feeling of achieving something so great, is because you've actually committed time to it. That's the trade-off. You're going to have to commit time. If you're not willing to commit time, you won't get that amazing feeling of achieving something.
Yeah, it's valuable because it's difficult to obtain.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I was actually listening to a podcast.
Fix that wee pillow for me there, please. It's all good. It's just annoying.
Don't you worry, bro. I got
it. That's nice. Is that it? Sort of? Yeah, we're all about the aesthetic and the feng shui.
Oh, I got you. Yes, because I was having a conversation, was listening to a podcast as well, and I would do a podcast a day. That's a rule for me. Like, that's a non-negotiable, one a day. And
What's your favorite? Sorry to break your train of thought, but
good question. There's two podcasts which I learned so much from. The first one is Modern Wisdom.
Shout out. One of the best podcasts in the game.
The GOAT. Again, it's a little heavier, I would say.
It's heavy. Some days I'm like, I don't want to listen to that.
It's like because at times it can be tedious.
It's a thinker, like.
Oh no, you have to. You can't be. It's not sitting there lying in bed, like chilling out. No, like And when I'm driving, I've kind of made a rule of thumb, and people might think it's a bit extreme, is unless I'm sitting waiting to go into the gym, I'm listening to that podcast.
Yeah.
Because it's time where I could be learning.
Yeah, 100%. See, I like this podcast to be like a hybrid podcast because it's like it's an enjoyable, because look, I'm in the comedy podcast world as well, and it's like all about making people laugh, making people disconnect a little bit. Whereas all the podcasts I listen to are Modern Wisdom, Diary of a CEO. All the thinking podcasts are like, right, if I'm in the car for an hour, I can take a lot of information in here.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just want to go out, disconnect, and just kind of like just have something on in the background, and you might be able to learn a little bit from it. I think this podcast is like a hybrid between, you'll have a laugh, enjoyable chat, but also so many nuggets. And if you take one thing away from it and apply it to your life, it could be a massive.
Do you ever feel pressure on those comedy podcasts to be funny? Because see, that was one thing I was thinking about. I was like, what's one career where I would hate doing? And again, I have so much respect for comedians, because
so do I.
Like, as soon as you tell someone that you're a comedian, like,
there's an automatic
in your head.
Yeah.
Someone's judging you on your level of how funny you've been in that interaction. And I would hate that if someone said, tell me a joke. I think you'd get a crack in the face. Like,
I have a lot of respect for comedians. I really, really do. It must be the scariest thing. And I've been asked loads of times to be like, I'll do 5 minutes, or do this or do that. And even on the comedy podcast, I would say at the start, when we first started Dirt Civil, me and McCann, and he was like, oh, do you want to do a podcast? And we were like, right, let's do it. I was nervous the first one. Naturally, because it was my first podcast, but also because my mate's one of the funniest people I know, and is also hilarious to other people. Yeah. So I'm like, I came in with the kind of angle of, I'm just going to be myself, and I'm just going to be like the kind of, not the middleman, but I'm just going to bring my style to the podcast. And thankfully, people enjoy listening to it. But I think if you try to be funny, and
game over.
If you're pushing to be funny, that's worse for me, because I'm never going to be as funny as a full-time comedian.
No,
you just have to be yourself, and people will enjoy that. And also, thankfully, like, anyone that I do a podcast with, the connection is always there, like, most of the time.
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's like people see that connection. Like, me and McCann were best mates since we were 11. It's just natural. So
what's your take on that? Say, you said about there, you just have to be yourself. Very important, I think, when it comes to like making content or doing any of those things as well. But what if you want to change as a person? What's your take on that? Like, what if you actually want to change who you are as a person when it comes to being yourself? Say,
how do you know who yourself is? Is it
because realistically, I was again having a conversation with someone the other day about this, and we went back to a couple of years ago, 2019, when I was in a really, really dark place. And if someone said to me,
you didn't want to be yourself,
and someone said to me, if someone had went back and said, oh, you're fine just the way you are, you're fine the way you are, I don't know where I would be if I actually listened to that and no action was taken.
You bought into where you were. Identity, that all comes from identity, and you need to figure out, it's not more so like, what identity do you want to be? Because look, let's be real, we're all a product of our environments growing up.
Big time.
We don't have much say in and in order to kind of fight against certain things, sometimes it takes 10, 20 years, sometimes it might take a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, to kind of find your true self. And I don't think you're ever fully like happy with every single part, but it's just always like understanding that it's okay to be where you're at right now, and always try and figure yourself out every single day. And also have compassion for certain parts where it's like, you have to think, we're all brought up differently. Northern Ireland's a perfect example of it, from so segregated, like one part and one part, it's like 50-50, and you're like, you're either this identity or this identity. But identity is so much bigger than black and white, than Protestant Catholic, then it's so much bigger than that. So it's about, ultimately, I always say, like, it all comes down to kindness at the core. Like, if you can be, and this is where honest online coaching come from too, and I spoke a little bit about this in the podcast with Brad. If I can be honest with my clients and I can be honest with myself, I'll get results. Like, I will help people. Whereas if there's any like side of it where I'm not being honest, or I'm kind of like playing a character, just won't work.
Have you ever tried to play a character before?
I would definitely probably say when you go to uni, or when you switch environment massively, there's definitely elements of people pleasing and maybe trying to do things for others instead of what you truly want to do yourself.
I think that comes back even from an evolutionary perspective of being in the tribe. If the tribe master is acting a certain way and 99 people out of 100 are acting that way, you don't want to be the one sticking out. So I get that if you're going into a new environment. Like, it takes a lot of plums and a lot of reassurance in who you are as a person to go into a completely new environment, new people, and just stick out from the crowd.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, 100%.
But I think even what you'd said about your upbringing and everyone else's upbringing is completely different. And that's one thing which really gave me a lot of compassion for other people, because I used to be a hothead. I used to be someone that would have got angry a lot. I would have been too irritable. And
all your teenage, would you say that was throughout school?
No. I would have been pretty placid up until about 19, I would say.
Oh, right, okay.
No, I always would have appeared outside of the house. I always would have appeared pretty chilled out. But I mean, in the house, I would have been
antsy, like.
Just because I wasn't happy in myself. But what I've came to realize is that the way people act, and it's so simple, but sometimes we forget it. The way people act, it's just a result of their experiences.
Yeah.
They act and they think due to their past experiences, and no two people have had the same experiences. And like when someone, say for example, prime example, on a micro level, you're driving down the motorway, someone's beeping the horn at you, going bananas, and again, you could lose the head at that. But for me, I'm like, you don't know what's going on in their day, you know. And
so hard to think in that moment. So hard to take yourself out, because you have to look at the situation like from a bird's eye view and be like, don't be a dick here. Think about someone else. That takes a next level of thinking. A lot of us are very front facing, like reactionary, just like you know, and that's deep psychology. Like
it's that moment of mindfulness.
Takes a lot of awareness. Like
it's taken a while though, but it definitely taken a while.
Yeah,
there's a lot of Jay Shetty in there. But again,
shout out Jay Shetty, the monk. Like.
But from the initial thought, having that like literally that second of mindfulness before I opened my mouth, because again, what I would have thought I would have said, and again, it could have got me in trouble sometimes.
Yeah,
and I would have been someone that definitely would have slandered other people a lot. I would have been like quite a toxic person. I think back in the day, I would have been a net negative to the world. Like,
where do you think it came from? Where do you think kind of
being really unhappy with myself? Now, growing up, I was like happy-go-lucky, very confident. Again, never had any issues. Never had any beef with anyone.
Yeah.
Never got in a fight. I'm still never been in a fight. So if I get chased,
me neither.
I'm fucked.
Yeah. Man.
Nah.
Wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah, that flat bench PB doesn't contrast the street fight. Like,
definitely doesn't.
So yeah, please just don't at me. And I think it just got to the stage where I was really unhappy with myself. And what I've realized is, even recently, when I'm really compassionate to people, I'm in a really good place myself.
Yeah.
And when I feel like I'm about to say something derogatory or slander someone, I know in myself deep down that I'm not in the best place I could be. Or maybe not, I'm maybe on the verge.
Yeah.
And that's, again, it comes back to that self-awareness of like, right, where are you at? And like, I'll be very honest. So like, for the past year, been an absolute whirlwind. And then over Christmas was the first time I took a week off. Mm-hmm. And it actually rocked me a wee bit. Not to the point where I was like, I was down or anything like that. I felt more anxious. Oh yeah, I did feel down on some days, and that's okay to feel like that.
Yeah.
But it's not okay for me to sit and sulk in that. For me personally, again, again for other people, but for the way I am now, like having a thought, negative thoughts, that's not going to be solved by sitting thinking. So thoughts aren't going to be solved by more thinking, in my eyes. Thoughts are going to be solved by action.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've realized. Like, the problems from the mind aren't going to be solved by the mind. It's going to be solved by the body. So actually doing something, if that's journaling, if that's walking, if that's training, if that's sea dipping, all form.
An outlet of some kind, like.
Some form.
Yeah.
Some form. But me sitting there scrolling on socials, just sitting thinking about it, it's not really going to change anything.
Never helps anything, I find, scrolling on socials. Like, I think, like, unless there's a lot of positivity on social media, and we're going to get into your stuff as well, and the cold water therapy and everything. There's also a lot of negativity, and I find like if you scroll for, say, if you're a spam scroller, let's call them, which is like 2-3 hours, and we've all been there at a time in our life where we're just endlessly scrolling and we get lost.
3 hours, bro. There's days I was putting away like, oh man,
it's bad. Like we've all been there.
Double figures, easy.
And if you're doing double figures, the likelihood is 80% of that is going to be negative. It's going to be either negative or not going to provide value. Now, value could be making you laugh. There's so much value in the world, and on social media, but a lot of it is going to be negative. It's going to be news stories. It's going to be someone giving abuse to someone. It's going to be someone having a different opinion, but portraying it in the wrong way. So always try and consume way less, because it's only going to be a net positive. If you're consuming less, because it's just an absolute wormhole.
100%. I think even it comes down to who you follow.
I'm doing a bit of a following cleanse at the minute. And don't worry, bro, you'll make the cut.
Thank you. I was about to say, bro, are we gonna? Yeah,
I was actually gonna unfollow.
Leave it to the end of the podcast, babe.
I was gonna unfollow everyone, because I was just gonna go to zero and see where I was at, but it's such an effort to unfollow people also. Yeah,
so I would give people I would give that advice to some people, is literally just go through, and you're no one's obligated to go through, no one's obligated to follow, and you're just simply opting out of seeing someone's stuff. Yeah. And let's be honest, 9 times out of 10 it's bullshit people are posting. Yeah. That's fine. Let people post their bullshit. That if it makes them happy, that's great. But
also a lot of people, I follow a lot of friends who don't use Instagram. So if I unfollow them and they see, if they see that, don't take that as a negative, because I'm only following people that put out content. Yeah. So if I'm unfollowing you, I'm still your friend in real life. Yeah, don't forget that real life is more important than Instagram. But I just want to see content that's going to add value to me. I don't want to follow someone with 0 posts just because that validates our friendship. That's a load of balls.
No, 100%. But even from a comparison perspective, everyone's heard the saying, comparison is the thief of joy, and some people
love that saying.
Yeah, it's a banger. It's a banger. But hold on, days going by, right? So say 20, 30 years ago. Yeah. You're in great shape. So
thanks, man.
In this small town, hey, I got you, bro. You got my coffee, I had to say that, man. In this small town, Fintona, right? Yeah. You would be in the top percentile of physiques. Yeah. Probably pretty confident in how you look. Yeah. Right? I'd assume very confident.
Yeah.
You go onto Instagram now, and within the first 10 seconds, you see probably 9 out of 10 people in incredible shape, probably much better shape than ourselves. Yeah. And automatically, your ranking in society goes from up here down here. Yeah. Okay. Subconsciously as well. Again, a lot of people say, "Oh no, I don't." But subconsciously, we do compare. It's who 100%. Who we are. Yeah. And again, even from a financial perspective as well, even I've got caught into that sometimes, with people I know, and at 21, 22, 23 years, and they're like, oh, if I'm not making 6 figures, I'm a failure at 21 years of age. Yeah. Because you go on Instagram and you're seeing 21 millionaires in the first 30 seconds of the scroll, and that puts you from here down to here. So do audit who you're following. Again, take inspiration from it. But if you feel in yourself that you don't take inspiration from those things, and it actually adversely affects you. Yeah. To the point where you put yourself at the bottom of that tier, maybe it's time to reconsider who you're following and the content you're consuming. Yeah.
There's always going to be someone richer than you. There's always going to be someone better looking than you. There's always going to be someone more successful in your mind than you. So I know it's easy to say, don't compare. You're right, 100%. We all compare. Naturally, it's part of what we do. It's in our DNA. But you can definitely try and compare less and try and make yourself happy before you're trying to portray this character. This goes back to, pardon me, another point on Facebook, where it's this social media world, if used in the wrong way, is a real negative, because I see people, I would find myself wishing people happy birthday in real life or on a WhatsApp group, but no one sees it, and you kind of think, do I need to wish them happy birthday on Facebook as well? Just so it looks like I'm wishing them happy birthday. That's a problem. That's a big problem.
Yeah, I seen it was literally...
We all do that. I guarantee everyone that's watching this is thinking, do I need to wish them happy birthday on their wall just so people can see that maybe not so much now, because Facebook's, not many people use it, but
even an Instagram story. One of my best mates said to me not too long ago, "Oh, you didn't put a story up on my birthday." I was like, I seen you.
I know.
I said happy birthday.
That's bad.
People tagging their mum, happy birthday, mum. She made,
I know she's down.
Breakfast.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? But again, what you said there about trying not to compare, it's telling a depressed person to cheer up, but design your environment so that you don't find yourself comparing as much. Yeah. Such as having a wee cleanse in social media. Yeah. So that's one thing that it definitely helped me back in the day. Yeah. I completely removed myself from social media before I started posting on social media. Posting reels. Yeah. I don't think I properly posted maybe one in 2 years.
That probably really helped you too. You were coming in with a fresh approach, and being like, right, okay, I'm coming in now when I actually feel in a much better place.
Yeah, but again, the reason why I hadn't posted is like the initial reason why I wasn't posting is because I wanted to be off the grid. Like that was it. I just wanted to be off the grid. I didn't want anyone to. I was so anxious as a person. I was just like, I just didn't want to put anything out there. I wanted to be invisible. And then when it started, obviously posting more, and then now obviously I'm not missing a day with it.
Yeah.
But you'd said there's always going to be someone richer. There's always going to be someone more XYZ of you. And one thing that I was thinking on the way down, acknowledge your achievements, and completely take your achievements away of what you're fixating your goal wise. Like take that away from an arbitrary figure or like an actual figure. Because when I hit 100K on Instagram, I thought
congratulations by the way.
Oh no, thank you. Like it's
amazing.
Yeah. Oh no, it's great. But like, I mean, it's just a number.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started posting Instagram, I was like, oh, imagine one day, imagine you hit 100K. Imagine what that would be like. Sean sitting here the other week. I'm sure he maybe thought the same. Maybe he didn't. Sean would probably like, he wouldn't be ours.
Yeah.
Like when I'd seen it go through, I was like, all right, what's for dinner?
I know.
And it was this like massive underwhelming moment.
It's the destination thing, isn't it? It's so important, and you don't realize it. You didn't realize that until you got there. Like we all set these big massive goals of like, oh, one for me was like when I pay off my parents' mortgage, or when I do this or when I do that, oh, that'll be it. But over my lifetime of achieving little things, you barely take time to realize that you've done it.
But do you not think it's important to actually try and, because again, I was under that, like I was the exact same. I was like, right, what's for dinner? Next.
You should take stock of it, and you should congratulate yourself 100%.
Because I was like, as soon as that hit, I was like, fuck, imagine $250,000.
Yeah. You were thinking about the next thing.
And I was like, snap out of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, sit in the end of your bed and actually congratulate yourself.
Did you get the balloons?
No, I didn't get the balloons.
Oh man, you should have got the balloons.
Yeah, mum and dad sorted it out. It's not too late.
Yeah, 200K, get the balloons.
Yeah,
like 250.
But no, I was like, you know what? You need to congratulate yourself. Those moments are important, and that could be getting up in the morning and that could be going to the gym and hitting a PB.
Yeah.
That could be having a conversation with your manager at work and it going better than you thought. Like,
we're bad at that though. Naturally, we're all very bad at it. I think it's like everything is so competitive, and because back to social media again, and because all of our lives now, our grandparents and the older generations didn't have this comparison as much. It was like who had more land, or like, and you were only within like an area of, you only know the people 4, 5, 6 miles each side of you. Whereas now I can compare to someone in America. I can compare to someone in New Zealand, Australia. I'm online coaches, we're against the world. Yeah. You're not just against your local PT that's charging 20 quid and you're charging 25, and you're like, oh my days, it's going to be a disaster. So I think it comes from the scope has just been broadened, and there's just so much pressure now on the younger generation. Look, don't get me wrong, there's pressure on every generation, there's pressure on everyone in every walk of life, but I think from people that are like living, even like younger than me, you're about 3 or 4 years younger than me.
I'm a young buck.
Yeah, you're young, like. But I remember having a phone.
You're on your way out, bro.
I'm literally over the hill. This is it. I'm done. But it's when I was growing up at school, like I remember my first phone, but I didn't have like.
What did you have?
Man, it was like a Nokia.
A Nokia shipwreck.
Yeah, it was like a little
1100
or something. Yeah, of course it had Snake. Man.
Yeah, it was a flex.
Come on, man. I rode. Come on, I had the best of the best. But no, it was. There's a big comparison thing now, and it's just there's so much pressure on people to be like, successful has just went from here through the roof.
I mean,
there's and I think ecom, like there's guys in their bedroom making 7-8 figures to bring it back to money, and to bring it back. And look, when you really deep it, some CEOs aren't truly happy. Like there's a lot of people earning a lot of money that aren't truly happy. So you have to think, always think when you wake up, or always think this year, this is a thing that everyone can do. Your 2023 vision. Think, how can I add more into my life of the things that I enjoy? That could be a walk, that could be coffee. That's a big reason why this podcast was a thing, because Morning Coffee with Tim, I was like, right, it's designed for you to grab a coffee, get your steps in, listen to this. You know, that's going to be a positive, positive in your day. And that's a net positive for me, and I want it to be a net positive for so many more people. But it mightn't be coffee. It could be a walk. It could be going to a coffee shop with a mate. It could be journaling. Like, just find things that make you happy and make you present in the moment. It could be going bowling, whatever it could be. Just fill your life with things that are enjoyable. And if you can do that then with your job, and understand that not all of your job is going to be positive, there's admin things in our jobs that we absolutely hate doing, but I think a lot of people get mixed up in the sense that, oh, I love every second of my job.
No,
trust me, that's not the sense. But just try and follow something that you're passionate about. If that's people, if it's fitness, if it's gaming, whatever it is.
You need to really appreciate the simple things. You obviously shag coffee. That's the simple things. How many micro moments of your year are you actually taking that in and enjoying it? You might have 3 to 4 macro moments in your year.
Yeah.
Could be a birthday, Christmas, you might get a promotion. How many of those are you having in your lifetime? When you really add it up, it's not that many.
No.
So just think of those. So what you want to try and do, and this is something that I try and do this year, is romanticize those wee micro moments.
Yeah.
Look at the sunrise. Actually take it in. And it sounds cliche, but like, say the sunrise and going for those sea dips and like having a nice cup of coffee and enjoying that time with your friends. Like, actually sit there and take that in, because it's those wee micro moments. It's not the cocktails in the fucking Bahamas.
Yeah.
That makes you happy and makes you content, and that's what the strive. It's not. It's those wee micro moments, your day to day, when you go into the coffee shop and you have a chat with the cashier and
barista. Barista and cashier, you know, it's all.
I actually was looking for that word.
I spend way too much time in coffee shops.
No, that was never coming. But yeah, you're right. Like 100%, it is barista.
Yeah. No, I also take the cash. Like,
but yeah, no, 100%. Like, you have to romanticize your life in that. And I know it's so Instagrammy cliche, but since I've started doing those things, since I've started doing the cliche things, my life has been drastically better. So and that's why, like, again, with my Instagram videos, people in Northern Ireland might look at that and be like, he's so cringy, he's so embarrassing. Great, I don't mind that. That's fine. Yeah. But what I've came to realize is the cringy and embarrassing things are the things that, I mean, it really resonates with people on a deeper level. Yeah. You know, and for me, going down to the beach, looking at the sunrise, taking the scenery in, actually sitting there with those emotions that you're having, that's proper living. Yeah. People would ask me, what do you actually enjoy doing? Like, see, when I go to the gym, and I'm a fitness coach, but I actually don't really love going to the gym. Yeah. Right?
I'm very similar.
I go to the gym with a purpose of feeling better afterwards.
You know it's going to be a benefit in the long run.
Yeah, I tick a box and I'm doing it for my future self. Yeah. But do I enjoy that? No. When I actually think of things that I solely enjoy in that moment, that I'm not doing for an after effect, the one thing is going for a swim in the sea, because I'm sitting there and it's euphoric, and you sit there with your emotions and it's otherworldly. And I know people are like, oh, that guy's fucking nuts. Yeah. Great, fine, that's all right. Yeah. But it lights me up like there's no tomorrow.
That's me in a coffee shop. Yeah. Like that everyone has their own thing, and it's like sometimes I'm jealous of PTs who love the gym. Like, I have a few mates, lot of mates that are like, oh, like, gym is their therapy. Like, that is where they want to be. For me, I go to the gym because I do enjoy it, like, and I enjoy sport and I enjoy challenging myself and lifting weights. But for me, going for a walk, going to the forest, getting a coffee, or sitting in, even just going and speaking to my local barista and then just chatting and then just sitting down, see that first sip. That's me in the sea. That's me in the sea, and I'm just like, and people think that's so crazy, but it's because I've kind of disconnected and thought, right, that is what brings me the most happiness. And do you know when I see it as well? I think this makes a lot of sense in my mind. We're always looking to be like, children have very little worries, right? You know, little kids, 2, 3, 4, they just want to play, they just want to laugh, they just want to have a good time. And my mum's a childminder, and see, whenever I feel most present, a lot of the time is when I'm with them. I get it with coffee, but see, when I'm sitting with kids and I'm just like throwing them around, I'm just lifting them up and I'm out walking, I'm bringing them to see the sheep, and they're just laughing. I'm like, speaking of cringe, this is very cringe, but I'm just like, this is worry free. And I don't think about anything else. Another time I get that's when I'm on the football pitch, when I'm completely disconnected from everything. All I'm worried about is passing a ball, you know, or thinking about the game.
Yeah, see, I wish I had that with football. I just had curry trunks when someone played the ball to me. It was like,
Did you play football? I thought, did you play it a bit?
Yeah, I played all my life.
Did you?
I'm saying that. I'm only 23, but I played up until I was about 19. Like, literally dedicated my youth to that. Yeah. And it got this, oh my God, it got the stage where like everyone was getting a lot better. Yeah. And I think I was The first time I got benched, I was like 18.
Aye.
And then after that, I was like, I wasn't used to it.
Aye.
And then people started getting better around me, and I was just like,
True test of character there.
Yeah, oh mate, 100%. And then it got to the stage where I was like, man, I'm not enjoying this. And then I whatever happened, I woke up one morning with 2 left feet. Anytime the ball came near me, I was get that so far out of my sight. But yeah, no, honestly.
But if you played now and you were benched, you'd deal with it a lot better because you've way more self-aware.
Oh, of course, because one, I had no self-awareness. Two, I'd never taken a knock in my life, so I was so fragile, and so I was in cotton wool all of my younger years. Not from like saying from my parents' perspective, they gave me the best childhood ever. But I'm saying I'd never had a knockback, and when you never have a knockback, there's no resilience
don't know how to deal with it,
at all. Like there was nothing. That's why when I genuinely do believe that, and people might say, well, that's again very privileged for you to say that, but because I had such a great upbringing, as soon as I faced any adversity, I crumbled.
But look at the majority of people that write autobiographies or are successful and in the public eye. Richard Branson, Alan Sugar, or any of these people. I'm thinking of these people who's on the top of my mind. The Apprentice is on at the minute. They all talk about how rough of an upbringing they had. Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett, he always talks about his upbringing. I think there's definitely, and it's not, look, I also had an extremely privileged upbringing, the best parents in the world. I was very, very fortunate. But I think there's a drive in someone that has a lot of challenge from a younger age that probably took us a bit longer to get.
Well, a good example of that, when I was playing football, it was in I think it was under 15s, under 16s in the Northern Ireland squad, and my dad was speaking to the manager, and I didn't get selected the second time, and what he said was, he doesn't need it. He knows that he doesn't need it, and there's some boys there that they want to push forward the football to escape where they're living at the moment, to escape that reality, because they've had quite a harsh upbringing, and I reflect on that now, and I had no drive for anything because I was comfortable. Yeah. The one thing that's brought me serious drive in my life, and again, that doesn't have, like, I know people that haven't had that and that have serious drive, and again, they just, they're go-getters. Yeah. But for me, I never had that. And it was only until I went through a hardship, that's where the drive came from. The drive came from, obviously, one, wanting to be better myself, and then when I got to the level, I was like, right, okay, I went from absolute pits, rock bottom, suicide, depression, to being on top of the world. It flipped the switch. How can I not do that for other people? Yeah. And thankfully, I'm in a position now where I can do that. I'm super, super grateful. But yeah, the drive only came when I hit rock bottom.
Let's go back to that a little bit, because we spoke a little bit about your upbringing, school, and you kind of said you were placid up until 17, 18, 19. When did the hardship, and not so much hardship, but the struggles and the anxiety and everything start building up? Like, where did it come from? Because there's always a trigger, right? There's always something that, and it could be multiple things, but there's always something that it stems from, especially anxiety and stuff like that.
I didn't understand what anxiety was. I had a friend in school suffered with depression, anxiety, and I remember making a remark to one of my best friends, being like, oh,
you don't respect it because you've never been through it.
Didn't respect 100%. It at all. And it's a regret I have that, again, I wasn't more empathetic and understanding at the time, but I suppose I was young. I just didn't get it. And maybe karma came back to get me. Who knows? But listen, we're here. And I'm trying to think where that actually stemmed from. It got to the stage where I moved down to Dublin. I was training to be an airline pilot. Yeah. When I was 19, I moved down there and I was living on my own. So, again, I wasn't really networking with many people. It got to the stage where I was partying quite a lot. Yeah. And I'm sure you know what's entailed there. Yeah. And a lot of drinking, a lot of other things. And I was burning the candle at both ends. I was studying actually very hard for the first time in my life.
Where did the pilot thing come from?
Okay, good question. So my neighbour was a pilot growing up. Right, okay. And he took me up when I was 13. So he was an architect, but he flew air ambulance as a hobby, which is such a cool hobby to have. So when he came home, he would have flew out and he would have done air ambulance, and he would have took me up when I was 13. And so I got a flying lesson, and then I would have done flying lessons up until I was about 18. And then I didn't go to university. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I would have gone to university and just partied. And I was like, listen, well, I've been doing fly lessons. I'll go down that route of being a pilot. It's so lucrative. It sounds incredible. Yeah. And my mum and dad were so supportive, and they helped put me through that. And again, I think because of the financial commitment, I think because of the fact I was down there on my own, that's where I found hard work. I was starting to struggle a wee bit, but I realized, was like, right, okay, like shit needs to get done here. There's a big commitment on the line, so I started to really. Would have got up at 5 a.m. Would have studied till 8:30.
Yeah.
Class 96, came home, studied, and then at the weekends, Friday, Saturday, I was out partying, and I mean partying.
Yeah.
Not a brain cell to my name, and I think it was burning the candle at both ends. It got to the stage where I couldn't go into the shop, my local shop, and have a conversation with the cashier.
Not the barista in the shop.
Not the barista in the shop.
That'd be weird.
I couldn't go and have a conversation. I felt uncomfortable sitting alone in the car with my parents. I couldn't meet my friends sober.
Was this all, because I'm trying to like piece
no one
together.
knew this either.
Yeah, so this was all in your head. This was all within you. You weren't telling anyone. You weren't talking about
Not
it.
one person knew.
Would people have thought?
No.
No.
Not literally. That was the issue.
So you were bottling it up.
Oh yeah, for a solid year, not one person knew.
Yeah.
And that was the issue. Not one person knew, and that's why I tell people to talk. And I think more than just talking, but again, I kind of wish I'd spoken to my parents and grew a set of plums at the time.
Yeah.
And that's why
it's hard though. It's hard,
difficult.
Like.
But that's why I say to people that do speak up or people that reach out to me,
be
proud of yourself for speaking up, because I didn't have the courage to do that back then.
Yeah.
And could have ended up in a different trajectory. But it got to the stage where it was so overcoming that I actually started resorting to trying to. I remember even finding this guy on it was Instagram or on social media of some sort, trying to like fake diazepam, and it was getting to the stage where I was like trying to self-medicate, and nobody knew this at the time, and just to get this anxiety to go away so I could function as a proper human. And again, everything was crumbling. It got to the stage where I couldn't see myself waking up and being happy anymore. It got to the stage where I couldn't see myself ever being successful. Ever getting rid of the anxiety. And
you didn't see an end?
There was no end. It was the only way. It was me and 6 feet under. And I tried to take my life. I remember leaving the house one day, and it was surreal, because I knew I knew like I'd planned it. And I remember it was on a Tuesday, and I was meant to go down to flight school. Never went, and I actually drove past the point today where I remember I'd pulled in, and I tried to I took an overdose, and I don't remember after that. I remember waking up in the hospital the next morning. And the bubble had burst. I realised that people knew, mum and dad knew. And part of me was relieved. That
was a massive weight. Massive weight, I'm sure, off your shoulders, and thinking. But obviously, you were still in the moment of.
No, it was. It was
what you just done, like what you tried to do.
Oh no, it was a relief. It was a relief, and I'd tried it twice, and that was the second time. Obviously, it wasn't my forte, but
so I'm very glad you weren't good at it.
No, I know. So fuck, third time lucky. I'm only joking. But yeah, like again, and people would say to me about that, like that's the way I would have joked about it afterwards. In months gone after, that was just my way of dealing with it. I think. And I after that, my parents knew about it. I told them about flight school. I didn't want to go through with that, and the one consistency through that was training. Even in the darkest of days, I was still smashing PBs in the gym. Which is crazy, because I was barely eating. I wasn't sleeping at all, and there was the one consistency I had in my life. So once that finished, I said to myself, right, no partying ever again. Like partying. If you get me. Drinking wise, didn't drink for like, I think it was like 7-8 months. I started going out sober. Now again, I was medicated. Obviously after that. So I could actually go out and socialise. I remember my coach at the time. He brought me in, and he was the first person, aside from my parents, to actually instill belief in me again. That I could make something of myself. And after this event had happened, after I tried to take my life, like I couldn't have got any worse. It was rock bottom. It was almost like I was in fucking injury time. Like I had another crack at life. And that's why now people would say to me, how do you not care what people think? I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have been here, and it's just it's injury time now. I get another crack at it, and
that's so powerful that you can now use that experience to tell people, because so many people, it's so sad, but so many people are in that bubble that you were in and went through with it and committed suicide, and don't have that opportunity to try again or see the other side of it. So you now have that opportunity where you're using it very well on Instagram, social media, talking to people with your clients to be like, you know, life is short, but you can make the most of it. You can achieve a lot, and also be kind to yourself, like be compassionate, figure out where you're at. Like, and on a much smaller scale, I'd never experienced anxiety at all in my life up until about a year ago. And I woke up thinking that I was having a heart attack. And I mentioned this in the last podcast.
Was this in London?
This was in London, yeah. So I moved to London. A lot of stress, a lot of outside stress. I was kind of like, I would see myself as very horizontal, laid back all the time. I'm very chilled out.
I always got that impression.
So whenever I was I started to feel faint when I was out walking. I started to get like clamping, like pain, like someone was grabbing my heart, and I started to get stressed. I was starting to like, I wasn't able to train. I didn't want to eat. And I was like, I don't know what it is. But whenever you've never experienced it, you don't know what it is. And it's like, that's anxiety so unknown and depression so unknown. So I was like, right, I need to figure this out. Essentially, it all accumulated with me waking up thinking I was having a heart attack, saying to McCann, who was with me, I was like, we need to go to the hospital. Went to the hospital.
Would you go?
Huh?
You went?
Oh, I went to the hospital, yeah. I was like fully thought I was on my way out. I rang my mum. I was like, Mum, I don't know what I'm going to do here. I'm fully like, this is a heart attack. And then when I thought it was a heart attack, my whole left arm started to tingle and started to like get really tight, really tight. So obviously what you read online about a heart attack, everything, my brain was starting to tell me I was having a heart attack. So all the physical symptoms started to come.
Wow, that's mad.
Terrifying. That's terrifying. And I was like, right, what do I do here? So I went to the hospital anyway, and you know, I got the doctor was like, look, your heart is fine. This was actually after I went privately in London, got all my bloods done, got my ECG done, paid a fortune to get it all done, because I was like, because if you wait for London, a GP, you're never going to get seen. So I was getting all that done, and I couldn't find an answer. Now, this was off the back of me having sunstroke, believe it or not. Like, I had sunstroke one summer.
I'm not surprised.
I know. And I was like in a bad way. So this all the faintness, and I fainted in a cafe and all the rest. And then I think all of this stress, I started to become a little bit of a overthinker, worrier that I'd never been before. And because I'd never been sick before, never ill before, I'd barely ever been to the doctors, I started to overthink everything. I was like, oh, well, this must be something bad. And then you start to think about people that said, oh, always go get checked. You know your body the best. Like, go get checked. So I was going to get checked, but I wasn't getting any answers. So this all accumulated in loads of stress and loads of anxiety. At the same time as I employed someone in my business, I moved to a different city.
What did you do? How did you get around that?
So I went to hospital. He was like, Tim, you're young. There's nothing wrong with you. Go and enjoy your life. Essentially what he said to me.
Get back on it.
Which for me was really hard to hear.
You almost want to hear.
In my mind, I wanted to hear there's something wrong, because I was like, oh, finally I'm not, I've got an answer.
Diagnosis is relief sometimes.
But anxiety and stress, but I just started to like, I had neglected my personal habits. I had neglected hydration. I had neglected eating well. I was living in London. I had even neglected my routine. I was going out to comedy nights and stuff. My routine had shifted. I wasn't doing yoga, which I had done consistently for years before. I stopped doing the things that make me feel. When did
you stop doing that?
When I moved to London, and probably a little bit before, whenever I started to feel ill from the sunstroke, I stopped doing the things because I was constantly worrying about this other thing. So my life became a bit of a blur.
And it's mad that, again, you stopped doing the things which made you feel good when you started to feel bad.
Exactly.
Which is, again...
Because you don't think... You don't think. Whenever it's all going well, you'll just do things because it's like an add to your life. But whenever it starts hitting the fan... You don't go back to what's good, because your mindset isn't in a place where you want to think about it. You just want to get this fixed.
There's a fella I know, and again, we had this conversation that he never really suffered with mental health, and he said, obviously he was wondering, was it genetic or what it was, and I said to him, I was like, mate, look at your life, look at the way you live. You meditate every day, you go for a walk every morning, you train hard, you eat well, you're successful in your career. Your habits are so in line with that of a healthy person and that of a healthy mind. Yeah. It's maybe not that it's, oh, you're just a lucky one. Maybe you just have your ducks in line habitually.
Yeah.
That has never came to you. So, and that's another thing as well. I would always say to my guys and girls is instill those good habits when you feel fantastic.
Yeah.
Because they need to be automatic when you're feeling shit.
Yeah.
And that's really important because that's when it counts. Those habits that you get told some bad news.
Yeah.
You lose your job. Family member dies. You need to have those good habits in place. And that's why I do the things I do. That's why I get in the bin. That's why I go for a C-dip. That's why I still train hard. That's why I try and keep my sleep hygiene in check. For that day that's inevitably going to come, a family member will die.
Yeah.
I probably will get told some bad news.
Yeah.
It's not an if, but, or maybe. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
So how can I prepare myself best for that situation when it does come so that I don't crumble?
Yeah.
And that I can actually stand up and look after those around me.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build that resilience so that when that hardship does come, like the hardship that came a couple of years ago,
yeah,
that I can deal with it.
Yeah. And was there a switch? So after you tried and you obviously woke up and you didn't know anything about it, and the bubble had burst. Everyone knew you were struggling. You're at the pits. You're at the absolute bottom. Wait, like I was talking about my anxiety. You're at the very bottom, as you were saying, rock bottom.
At the same time, like no matter what someone's struggle is, it's all subjective to them. Like if you feel, no matter if it's suicide or if it's anxiety, it doesn't matter. Like it's still horrible to deal with. But you're asking what the switch was. It was when I woke up the next morning, and even in the week or two after that, I'd seen how much it impacted my family.
Mm-hmm.
I could never have done that to them again. And I've never partied ever. I haven't since, and I never will ever again. I drink very sparingly because I know the effect it has on me.
Yeah.
Are
you more open? Are you more open with the people around you whenever you are, or would you say that
whenever I am
struggling, anxious?
Something I still struggle with.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to this day.
Because that was the thing that kind of helped you being more open and getting figured out.
Yeah, no, it's better.
Yeah.
But I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
I would say to my girlfriend, I would say to one of my friends, and I think my mum and dad, they're still try to be very perceptive, and I think my mum said to me beforehand, she was like, look, if you're not posting that often in your Instagram stories, and that's when I try and figure out, like, are you feeling great or are you not? And I remember she'd said that to me before, and it made me realise maybe I do need to speak a wee bit more.
Yeah.
There's days where I still don't feel great 100%. But I again, compared to where I was, it's like night and day. But I'm working on it. I'm working on talking and getting those things out. But I think it goes back to that machismo of I want to figure this out on my own. And don't get me wrong, like I know I have a contingency plan in place that if I'm not feeling great, I know exactly what I need to do. Like for example, a week or two ago, getting back into work, I was just like, I wasn't feeling down at all. I was just feeling sluggish, and I just wasn't feeling on my shit.
Yeah.
Didn't have my mojo.
Yeah. After Christmas, I think a lot of people feel like that, yeah.
So it was like, right, okay, contingency plan, social media, let's just use it to post. Let's make sure we're C-dipping or bin dipping at least once a day. Let's make sure we're eating clean. Everything, all those healthy habits were back in place, and now I feel 100%. So but it's taken a lot for me to get to realising what actually gets me back to there, because back in that day, it was scary because I didn't know it was ever going to get any better.
But you're still learning. Like we're all still learning. Like
when I'm 50, I'll still be learning.
Facts. You'll still be getting in the bin too.
You fucking right, I will be. Just hopefully a nicer bin.
I will. You'll have one of them nice pods. But
yeah, no.
I want to actually talk about that. I want to go to that because obviously, so the switch was swept. The switch was flipped, and you kind of like, so online fitness coach now. You started channeling all. You realize fitness was the thing that was the constant, and now that is your job. You know, we both have the same job. We have clients. We help people. You know, take control. Become the best version of themselves in different ways. And you've got a big mindset focus with your content. What would you say in terms of the cold water therapy? I want to kind of dig into that a little bit, because that is what has made you kind of known to a lot of people. Even Barry, who produces in here and owns this amazing studio, was like, "Oh, I've seen one of your videos of you in the bin." And you were saying to me about someone calling you the bin man when you're out and stuff. What the cold water therapy? Obviously, it's all laughs. You're in a bin. It's like visually, it's like this guy's in a bin. What a lunatic! But how much of a benefit, and where did that kind of come from that made you want to start that? Because the cold showers have been a thing. I done a video about the $1 billion morning routine. I love an aesthetic morning routine video on YouTube. It's a bit of a guilty pleasure, can't lie.
Yeah.
But like you have the cold water and you've been doing it consistently now. When did that kick in? And when did you start consistently doing it and realize this is giving me a dopamine hit here? I'm feeling amazing.
Yeah, so during lockdown, again, I felt a lot better. Smashed the photo shoot, then we went into lockdown, right? And then got the stage where like I need my fix of socializing, and I didn't get it anymore.
Yeah.
During lockdown, and then I had a friend who his mum and his auntie had been sea dipping, and he's like, "Oh, come on, let's go for a swim in the sea." I was like, "Fuck February, mate.
Yeah.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Am I getting in the sea? I hate the cold." I eventually went.
Yeah.
Dragged me into it, and the natural high I got was something I hadn't experienced in a long, long time. And again, I don't really get it as much from a cold shower, but that first time coming out of the sea was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Especially because I'd spent most of the time indoors sitting on my phone.
Yeah.
Just being outside again. It was unbelievable. And I was like, right, do you want to go tomorrow? And I just kind of started it. That just kick-started it. And I brought my own friends, and it got to the stage where like there was maybe 8, 9, 10 of us going every single week. And we just kept going and kept going. And now I'm going myself a lot. And it's just something that made me feel good. Yeah. So I asked myself, well, why do I not continue doing this? Yeah. It makes me feel great, and it gave me an anxiety relief, because when you're in the water, it's a stress response. It's a fight or flight. Yeah. And the only thing you're thinking about, you're not thinking about the bill that needs to be paid. You're not thinking about the anxiety. You're not thinking about the depressive symptoms. You're just trying to survive in that cold water. You're trying to get your breath, and that's all you're thinking about. So for 15 minutes, that was the very first time where I had relief from that, because I couldn't get relief aside from if I was going out partying. Yeah. That was the only thing I could get relief from. Yeah. And there was adverse effects after that. But as this, I felt incredible. I was like, this is it. For me, that was one thing which helped me. Same way some people have it going to the gym. They feel incredible afterwards. Yeah. Mine was going to the sea. And people ask me about the bin, how did that come about? Yeah. So a lot of people said to me, I'm landlocked, don't have the sea near me, I can't do that. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get a bin. Yeah. I'm going to bounce in the bin. And I also, for social media as well, I was like, right, okay, what's going to get people's attention? Because
it was smart. It was very, very smart. Like it stops you scrolling. It's like, this guy's in a bin. What's lunatic. He talking about?
Yeah. Because again,
which to be fair, social media is all about like our attention spans. It's everything. Are shot at the minute. 2 seconds if you don't hook a person in.
Exactly. So I was thinking, people are doing talking videos. So how can I stop the scroll? Yeah. And I'm really passionate about mindset. Like when it comes to making like nutrition videos or training videos, it's not my scene. Cause
I'm similar.
I couldn't get it. Yeah, you and I are very similar in the way like we love doing mindset videos, and it's something that we enjoy, so we continue doing. We keep showing up. I couldn't keep showing up making recipes. That's Sean's gig. Yeah, because he's really good at that.
Your natural positivity and ambition comes through your videos. Your personality comes out through when I'm talking about mindset, I'm in flow. That's why in this podcast a lot of the time it's mindset based. If I was talking about, and sometimes look, whenever you're trying to find yourself on social media, you'll do fat loss videos, you'll do whatnot, and you'll do little bits and pieces of everything, but you soon find your groove. And for me, mindset is for you as well. Whenever you speak, no, people give you abuse, you're like, stop shouting down that. I seen that on one of the videos. But people, that's your passion coming through. That's your passion coming through. Like.
Do you know what it is as well? People are saying, why are you shouting at me every time? I feel like I'm getting screamed at. See, when I go down to the beach and it's pissing down and it's so windy. Yeah. Mate, I
have to shout like
I'm making sure there's no way I'm taking a chance on that audio. Not working. I was like, mate, I am not doing it. There's no do-overs here. Yeah. So that's why I'm screaming down to the camera. But again, firstly it was like, how can I be different? Secondly, it was like, okay, I'm gonna show people that you don't need to go to the sea to do this. And thirdly, I just got a kick from it. It gave me such a kick, and again, there's so much science backed behind it as well. Like again, with the 530% increase in adrenaline, 230% increase in dopamine, and again, that's important, that's great, and that's what initially gave me. That's what really sucked me into it. Yeah. But it's not about that. It's about getting up and doing something which I found quite difficult, and because I'd said to myself, I was like, right, okay, I was someone that I called myself lazy. I didn't do the things I would do. I said I was going to do. I constantly broke promises to myself. Yeah. And when you break a promise to yourself, there's the person you are now. Yeah. And there's the person you wish to become. When you break a promise, you're opening the gap. When you keep a promise to yourself, you're closing that gap. Yeah. And I was constantly opening that gap. And what I wanted to do with the cold water is I want to do something difficult, which I know is going to be hard, that I'm going to push myself to do so I can feel better afterwards. Yeah. And if I can train that muscle of not wanting to do something and still doing it, when it comes to a difficult time in my life, again, that bad news comes down the line, which inevitably will come.
Yeah.
I'm not going to crumble, and I'm still going to continue doing the things which I know I need to do. And that's where it came from. So that was, again, building resilience and building discipline came through that, because it started with the cold water. And then now when it comes to me sitting down and doing work, and I don't want to do work, it's so much easier for me to be like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah.
As people talk about the inner bitch,
the
inner bitch gets squashed a lot easier now than it used to. Because back in the day, and this is something which was almost revolutionary for me, is what I realized was, when I only done the things that I wanted to do, I was the most unhappiest I'd ever been.
Yeah.
When I started to do the things which I didn't want to do in the moment, which I knew was better for me down the line, that's when I became the most happiest. Because it's the quick gratification which kills me.
Yeah. It's constant papering over cracks. Like going out, and look, there's nothing wrong with going out and enjoying yourself.
You
but
need to do that too.
Yeah, when it's an outlet, and when you're trying to hide something, you're constantly just drinking to cover something up. You'll soon get to a point where it's like, I can't do this anymore. Whereas you said success is outside the comfort zone. Doing things that make you uncomfortable are what gives you the real proper good feeling of like, right, I'm actually making moves here, moving the needle closer to the person that I want to become, which you speak about. And I like that, the gap. I like that. I think I've seen that on a Instagram video of yours before, the gap, talking about the gap.
I haven't posted that yet.
Have you not?
I only filmed it yesterday.
Oh, geez. Why have I've definitely heard it, or the person you want to become.
Oh,
you
that,
spoke about that a little bit
I actually
before.
thought about that in the car. That was only recently I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the gap, and
Go
that's
home
why
and make video about the gap.
Yeah, and again, that's what I was telling my clients this morning. I was like, again, that's something I'm going to continue talking about, is closing the gap.
Yeah.
Close that gap between that person you want to become, and think about that identity, right? And this is what I get all of my guys and girls to do. I'm bossing for people, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to round off soon too, because the memory card only has an hour and 25.
Oh, no, you're good. So what I want you to do, okay? Anyone that's listening, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Think about August 2023, and think about you walking down the beach in your bikini, in your swimming shorts. How do you look? How do you feel? How do you actually perceive yourself, and what kind of things have you accomplished this year? And you continue closing your eyes to him. Have you got that person in your head?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So you can open your eyes now. So that's the person that we want to become in 2023, okay? And you're going to be faced with a lot of decisions between now and then. Every time you're faced with a difficult decision, ask yourself, what would that version of you do? And you know deep down in your head what the answer is.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you an example. It's, shall I get up this morning and go to the gym? What will that version of you do? The version of you will probably say, no, I know what's best for me. I'm going to do that anyway.
Snooze, yeah.
So if you're unsure about what decision to make, do what they would do, and you will never go far wrong, because that's genuinely how I've transformed my life in the past 12 months. Is I sat on the 1st of January, wrote out a vision board, done the whole wishy-washy, who do I want to become, and I've actually stuck to my word.
Yeah.
And it's worked. It really, really has. And I've continually closed the gap. And I've genuinely believe now I've completely closed the gap on that person who I was before to who I am now. And think about that person you want to become. Anytime you're faced with a difficult decision, do what they would do.
Yeah.
And you will never be far wrong.
Yeah.
And see that every action, every day-to-day action that you do, that's a vote.
Yeah.
That's a vote for the kind of person that you wish to become. And like no single action, no single action that you take is going to transform your identity. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But the votes are going to build up, and the evidence that you're becoming that identity is building up with that.
Yeah.
So that's where the whole confidence things comes from as well. It's like all we want to think about is how much evidence can we build that we are that person that we say we are.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That is massive. And if you're listening to this, I want you to actually do that exercise, because so many times I'd be guilty of this as well. I'd be listening to a podcast, I'm sure you've done it as well, where you listen to it and just go straight over your head. But if you actually take action, as Daniel was talking about before, you have to actually implement. You have to actually take action. You have to actually want to change. Just listening to thoughts and listening to us talking will actually do nothing. But it's the same when you're consuming social media content. If you actually start taking action and moving the needle every single day, and as Daniel says, closing that gap, that'll make the difference. So go do that exercise. Do a vision board. Figure out where you want to get to. Have a vision for your life. I've actually got a vision planning session with my clients this week.
Love it.
And it's like, figure out the person that you want to become And I love that. I love that analogy of do what the person you want to become would do. That's massive. And look,
that's closing the gap.
Exactly. And there will be people that will take this information and use it, and there will be people that won't and push it off. Be the person that uses it and actually utilize it going forward. Yeah. And you could be a totally different person. This is what I say to my clients. There's no reason why 2023 can't be the best year of your life, the most positive year of your life. But you can have a coach and all the rest, but you have to want it deep down. You have to discover what you want in yourself. But no, that's incredible. Vision. Last thing, I want you to kind of talk. What's the vision? What's the goals? What do you see yourself doing? What's Daniel Dargan in this world for? I think I said the exact same thing to Sean. That's going to become a thing that I end this podcast with. What is your purpose and your mission, so to speak?
I want to be laid to rest knowing that I was a massive net positive for the world. Yeah. And I want to be remembered as someone that changed people's life for the better. Mm-hmm. And I know I can achieve that. And like, again, with me and my coaching and with our clients, it's like, again, I want to leave people in a lot better place than I found them. Firstly, with the online coaching side of things, where I'd love to go to, where I will go to.
I like that.
In 2023 and 24 and onwards is I want to delve into public speaking, and I really
You should have already public spoke, by the way. Not to get into that, but you should have. Actually, touching that quickly, that was when you had a public or you had something sorted, and then you were labelled as toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Which, if you want to see more about that, by the way, you done a video on it, right? On your Instagram. You spoke about it, Daniel Dargan. And you were supposed to be speaking, and then people tried to tear you down and say you were toxic, like promoting toxic masculinity and all the rest, which was ridiculous. But I just wanted to touch on that a little bit.
It's an important part, and the reason why people said I was promoting toxic masculinity was, I mean, I'm assuming that it was due to me saying that people have a responsibility and their life is their responsibility, and like what you need to do, that you need to do the things that you know you need to do, not the things that you want to do. And that's what's going to bring you forward. And essentially, I think sometimes people don't like the idea of them being responsible, because when they're responsible, it forces them to take action, and a lot of people are scared of that change. So the responsibility is a massive thing. As soon as you take responsibility, it forces you to actually take charge of your own life. And I would always say that to people, that if nothing changes, nothing in your life will change. You can stay in that comfort zone, but it will get harder. It will get harder. When that difficult moment down the line comes, you may crumble. But if you get out of your comfort zone, if you do what you need to do, and you know will benefit you tomorrow, your life's only going to get better from here, because you're going to build resilience. You may find what you love, and I think that's important. That's what life's about, like taking risks, being uncomfortable, and looking back and being proud of what you achieved.
Brother, thank you so much.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you for coming on, man. I love that.
Big love.
That was incredible. Look, guys, where can they find you? Daniel Dargan on all socials. I know you had your TikTok. You lost your TikTok or something stupid like that?
Mate, it wasn't even as, it was so much more underwhelming than that. I
forgot the password.
I forgot the email
and
the password to it, but listen, not arsed. We've actually started up a new TikTok. So Daniel Dargan on Instagram and Daniel Dargan 1 on TikTok.
Nice.
F in the chat. But thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been a banging chat.
That was incredible, and there's so much value in that. And look, guys, if you want to find out more about Daniel, go to @Daniel Dargan everywhere. He's incredible. His social media is class. You'll see him in the bin. You'll see brother. It's constant positivity. We're singing off the same hymn sheet a lot of the time with a lot of what we preach. So look, guys, appreciate you kind of listening or watching wherever you can see this. Make sure if you're on YouTube to subscribe, follow, share. There's so many buttons and things to do, but
it's too much these days.
Just drop a comment. Let me know your feedback. I really, really appreciate it. Share it on Instagram. Drop it a review on Spotify and Apple. It really helps get it out there and push it up the charts, because I really do believe that this podcast and the guests that are on have so much value, to give.
I'm saying yes as if I've just blew smoke on my
ass. No, absolutely. I absolutely love that conversation, and many more to come. But look, guys, thank you. Don't forget to grab a coffee, get your steps in, have us in your ears, and I'll see you in the next one.
Let's go, baby.
Have a good one.